What is the traditional gift for a 15th wedding anniversary? Crystal. After converting to Islam, what name did boxer Cassius Clay adopt? Muhammad Ali. In Gustav Holst's suite, The Planets, which planet is subtitled The Mystic? Neptune. What is the American term for a shorthand typist? Stenographer. What color is the flesh of an avocado? Green. What 8-letter word names delicate, intricate ornamental work made from gold, silver, or other fine twisted wire? Filigree. Which film features the iconic character Jeff Spicoli, a laid-back surfer and high school student? Fast Times at Ridgemont High. Which actor appears in the films Fantastic Mr. Fox, The Men Who Stare at Goats, The Ides of March, and Gravity? George Clooney. Austrian physicist Erwin Schrödinger proposed a famous thought experiment, now known as Schrödinger's what? Cat. BDI was formed in 2009 after the breakup of which band? Oasis. Which Charles Dickens novel is a classic coming-of-age story in which the protagonist recounts his life from childhood to adulthood? David Copperfield. What popular word game was invented by Alfred Butts in 1941 and marketed in 1948? Scrabble. Which berries are used to flavor gin? Juniper berries. From which country did Panama proclaim its independence in 1903? Answer: Colombia. Which long-running TV series had its final episode titled Goodbye, Farewell, and Amen? What do you call a person or organism that carries and transmits a pathogen while showing no symptoms? Asymptomatic carrier. In World War II, which company manufactured the Halifax bomber? Handley Page. Relative density, specific gravity, is the density of a substance compared to the density of which substance? Water. Who was Martha, the bird that died at the Cincinnati Zoo on September 1st, 1914? The last known passenger pigeon. What famous Cunard liner was sunk off the coast of Ireland on May 7, 1915, with the loss of 1198 lives? RMS Lusitania. Which city was Tom Wolfe describing when he wrote, "Culture just seems to be in the air, like part of the weather"? Answer: New York City. What was the surname of the family on the TV show Father Knows Best? Anderson. Which Shakespeare play contains an entire scene written in French? Henry V. In which city can you stroll through Piazza San Marco and visit the nearby islands of Torcello, Burano, and Murano? Answer: Venice. Which film tells the story of a former nun who becomes governess to a large family and helps them escape Austria after the Nazi annexation? The Sound of Music. In 2012, which motorcycle racing series raised the Premier Class engine displacement limit from 800 cubic centimeters to 1,000 cubic centimeters? MotoGP. Which Spanish author wrote Don Quixote? Miguel de Cervantes. Which American band named themselves after a lesbian sexual position? Scissor Sisters. Which term derived from a Chinese phrase meaning work together was popularized by U.S. Marines in World War II to describe enthusiastic teamwork? Gung Ho. Which prominent labor leader who served as president of the International Brotherhood of Teamsters mysteriously disappeared in 1975? Jimmy Hoffa. Which came first historically, the 15-player code of rugby or the 13-player league variant? Rugby union. In the Dudley Do-Right cartoons, what is the name of his loyal mount? Horse. Which British electronic duo, originally called the Dust Brothers, achieved chart success in the 1990s? The Chemical Brothers. During the reign of which English king was Harlech Castle built? Edward, the First of England. Which band released the album Their Greatest Hits, 1971 to 1975, and is known for hits like Hotel California and Take It Easy? The Eagles. Which common citrus fruit has varieties called Eureka, Lisbon, and Meyer? Lemon. Which Agatha Christie novel, set aboard a luxurious cruise on the Nile, features Hercule Poirot solving a murder? Death on the Nile. Which continent is the only one crossed by both the Tropic of Cancer and the Tropic of Capricorn? Africa. Who captained the American warship Bonhomme Richard during its famous 1779 battle? John Paul Jones. Which Confederate general, famed for his bold tactics, was mortally wounded at the Battle of Chancellorsville in 1863? Thomas Stonewall Jackson. Which Swiss-German painter created the 1922 work The Twittering Machine, later declared degenerate art by the Nazi regime? Paul Klee. Which 1978 film was inspired by the imprisonment and mistreatment of Billy Hayes in Turkey? Midnight Express. What is the capital city of Guatemala? Guatemala City. Which famous opera house in Milan opened in 1778? Teatro alla Scala, La Scala. Despite its name, what color is the male purple finch? Crimson. What were the birth and death years of composer Antonio Vivaldi? 1678 to 1741. What key investment term did Warren Buffett coin to describe a corporation's competitive immunity? Economic moat. Which video sharing platform became famous for hosting the music video that helped launch the internet phenomenon known as Rickrolling? YouTube. Who was the principal Soviet signatory of the 1939 Nazi-Soviet Non-Aggression Pact? Answer: Vyacheslav Molotov. Which English playwright wrote the tragedy Macbeth, a tale of ambition and fate centered on a Scottish nobleman? William Shakespeare. That's the end of the show. Thanks for listening. Come back tomorrow for more exciting trivia.